Time is one of the biggest challenges in primary care. Seeing patients on time, keeping to time, it gets crazy sometimes. And for many people, it's one of the biggest challenges they have in the work that they do. And it'd be nice if you could track what you're doing and know if you're running on time without having to look at the clock, without having things that interfere in your day, that kind of stuff. Well, I'm going to show you a tool that can help you potentially in terms of keeping on time and supporting you with knowing what you need to do. It's an amazing tool that I've really enjoyed using, and it's really got use for trainees as they try to bring their consultation times down from 20-30 minutes down to the required 10 minutes per consultation, whether you believe that or not. We've been using it in our practice for the past few weeks, found it really awesome. I really like it. I've even used it on some of my live streams, and I'm going to show you how effective it can be for you in primary care. The device is called the Time Cube. This is it. We're going to have a closer look at it. So let's tech enhance your primary care and learning. If this is the first time we're meeting, I'm Dr. Gandalf of EGP Learning, where I look at supporting you with technology-enhanced primary care and learning. And in this episode, I'm going to show you what the Time Cube is, how it can potentially help you in primary care, how it can help you try and keep on time, and as well, how it can really help trainees. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell to get all of our notifications first and foremost, and make sure you let us know down in the comments what you think of this episode. Anyway, shall we begin? So EGP learners, let's go through what the Time Cube is. It's basically a device that allows you to keep track of time. As you can see, it's a small white box, pretty robust, plastic in the content, and it's got a couple of timers at the bottom, as you can see right there. Now, what these timers do is that they are presets that allow you to set the device to time down from whatever time you set it at down to 0. And then it changes colour throughout the timescape. So at 50% of the time that you put, it will go from green to yellow. And then for the final 10% of the time, it will change from yellow to red, stay red, and when you've hit time, it starts flashing red. And that basically lets you know you've hit your time limit. And something as simple as that can really be useful at helping you to understand where you are in the time of the task that you're doing. So for example, for a consultation, if you set this to 10 minutes, then it would start halfway through, at 5 minutes down, it would change to amber. And when you've got a minute left, it will change to red. And when your 10 minutes is up, it'll start flashing red. And the reason why that's really useful is it's an unobtrusive way of you keeping track of time. There's no alarms, there's no buzzers, there's nothing like that. And when you've finished, it's so quick to reset. You literally just press the device and it starts again. And that reduces the inhibition of having to click to reset and do all these other kind of things with other timers that you may have come across. Particularly if you're using your phone, you don't even have to go into the phone settings or put the screen on again or anything like that. It's just a quick tap and you get started again. And actually, if you do run over because the consultation has needed that extra time, it just flashes a little bit in the background, reminding you that that's happened. It doesn't give you any weird notifications or buzzes or anything like that that can inhibit the consultation. The other benefit is because it's so unobtrusive, you can actually leave this outside of the patient's eye line when they're consulting with you, so they don't really have a great idea of what the device is trying to do, and therefore it doesn't really inhibit the consultation from the patient's perspective. Although I must admit, for me personally, I found the best place to keep this is near the computer screen, because that's where I tend to look towards the end of the consultation, so it gives me a better idea of what's going. As I said, it's got preset times. Now I'll be clear, the device that I have here has been provided for me. I haven't paid for it, and it unfortunately is one of the earlier models which doesn't have a 10-minute time limit on it. So this one has 2, 5, 15, 30, 45 and 60 minutes. Now clearly I'd be concerned if I was trying to use 60-minute consultations, but that could be useful in things like group consultations, etc. However, there is a version of this which is the home and office version which does have the 10-minute time frame. The reason I have this is because of COVID. Unfortunately, this was the only one they could send me. But we've been using it 15-minute time frames with our trainees, and they found it really effective and useful in terms of the way that it just gives you that notification of where you are in the timescape of the consultation, and therefore it allows you to adjust what you might need to consider. And because it's not intruding, not setting off alarms or anything like that, actually they've also been able to ignore it when the need has been there in terms of the consultation itself. But it's also a useful reminder to let them know, have they or have they not lapsed in the consultation time. Shall we have a look at the Time Cube? So it's pretty easy to use. It does need to be charged first, and it comes with a micro USB port, and it does come with its own cable if you need one, but I tend to use my own. And as a result, you just charge it up. It's pretty quick to do so. Once it is charged, simply you need to slide it on. And there's a little slider at the bottom. So we're going to switch that on. And as you can see, it pulses a lilac-y white kind of colour. And that means it's ready to go. In terms of setting the time, so the default time is set to the 60-minute timer. So you can change this simply by pressing on one of the buttons. So I'm going to put it on 2 minutes. And then to activate it, you simply just depress the device. So I'm going to put it on my hand so you guys can see. And we're going to start. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now, as you can see, this has started to go green. I'm going to bring it a bit closer for you guys so you can see a bit better. And it's going to stay green for the next minute because we're on a 2-minute timer. So 50% of that will be 1 minute that it stays green for. And then it's going to change amber. Many of you may have seen me use this on some of our live streams that we've had recently to try and help keep our presenters on time. And I found it a really useful way of doing that because it means I'm not having to interrupt them and they can actually see where they're getting on in terms of timing and stuff. As a result of that, I found it really effective to use in various other places like presenting, and you could even use this in your meetings and stuff. Be interesting to see how that gets on, wouldn't it? So we're getting close to being a minute, and then shortly afterwards it's going to change colour. And it's important to remember it doesn't make any weird sounds or anything like that kind of blocks things and stuff, and it's just nice to kind of have something that does this. There are a couple of online timers that do similar sort of things that you can access. And if you want, I'll put some, there we go. As you can see, it's already gone orange. So we'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see. There we go. Now it's going to stay orange until it gets to 10% of the remaining time left. So for a 2-minute timer, that means we've only got 12 seconds left and it is going to go red. Now, because of the light, we may not see the color change as significantly, but I will bring it closer so we can do that. As I was saying, if you want some online timers, I'll put a couple of links down below to ones that you can set manually that are free to use as well. Pretty easy and simple, but they do require clicks and that kind of stuff to reset the timers, which you'll see why I prefer this one as a method to use. I mean, what do you guys think of this so far? Do you think it looks okay? Do you think it seems okay? What are your thoughts? And actually it's now changed to a reddish glow. Now I know because of our light we may not be able to see that as clearly, but it has gone red, and that should stay the same for 12 seconds in total. And then what we should see, there we go, it starts flashing red. So that means I've now had my full 2-minute time frame. And that's it. In terms of resetting it, now normally this would be on my table, but simply you just go, tap, and it resets itself at green, and it will start the whole process again. I'm going to switch it off now. And that's the time cube. So, as I said, this could be really effective to be used in primary care, I feel, because it can help people keep to time by giving you that unobtrusive idea of where you are in the time frame of the consultation. Clearly putting this at 10 minutes for practicing for the CSA or the new RCA time frame will be really useful, and having this in the background for those RCA time frames can be a real nice reminder for trainees how to do things. You could clearly use physical timers, sand timers or digital timers and that kind of stuff. But the challenge I've had with trying to use those devices, it's the resetting, it's remembering to do so. And the fact that this is in the background flashing, it gives you that visual reminder that actually you need to reset it. And when you do so, it's a quick tap to do it. It's really easy. And I'm surprised at how much I've actually enjoyed having this device around to help keep me on time. And I must admit, my trainees have told me similar things. They found it a really interesting device to use, and they've recognised where they are in terms of timescapes for their consultations. And because you can change the timings, it can be adaptable for the length of time that you're doing. So the standard version does come with several different settings. It comes at 5, 10, 15-minute times. It also comes at 25 minutes on the presets, and that's really useful for Pomodoro timing. And many of you may have seen my episodes about the usefulness of a Pomodoro timer. If not, check out the video right here. But this will basically show you why Pomodoro timing, particularly for batching of your work, which is a method I definitely recommend to many people in terms of the way they work in primary care, can be really useful and productive. So having that as well is really effective. It also have the 60 minutes on there as well. So I definitely recommend checking that out. It is the home office version that you need for primary care, because this version, as you've seen, only has the 15 minutes, which unfortunately for the 10-minute RCA, CSA practice level is not unfortunately useful for primary care. So, would I get it? Absolutely. I think as a training tool, this device is really awesome. and it doesn't really have many downsides. The charging time lasts easily for a full clinic when you're using it. To be fair, it's lasted me a whole day. Important to remember, you do need to put it back on charge, otherwise it is unfortunately useless. But you can still use it whilst it's charging, so that's a good plus in that sense. And I just think it works so well, and it's got so many other uses. Clearly in primary care, we can use this in meetings, you can use this for when people are trying to speak at presentations and that kind of thing, as well as definitely from training perspective. This device, I think, has real benefits for primary care. And if you're interested, feel free to use the link that's coming up right here. They'll get you access to it. It's an affiliate link, which by using it, I do get a small amount. But if you don't want to use that, feel free to just Google TimeCube with a Q, and you'll be able to get the device as you want. It does have a slight delay on delivery times because of COVID and things, so do feel free to check that out and have a look at it if you want. If not, if you want some alternatives, like I said, there are some digital timers you can look at using, and again, I'll put the links down below in the show notes so you can check those out. Alternatively, if you prefer your physical timers and apps on your phone, definitely feel free to have a look at those. But I must admit, I've been looking for something like this for a while, and I've yet to find anything that matches the effectiveness and the ease of use the TimeCube offers for primary care timing. I'd love to know what you guys think of this episode, whether you think it's useful, whether you would consider getting this device, and whether you think, particularly for trainers out there, this will be something that will be a useful training tool for your trainees, particularly with their assessments and stuff. Let me know in the comments, or you can contact me whichever platform you prefer, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, you know, all those different things. If you did want to check out the Pomodoro episode again, like I said, that link's coming up right here. And if not, I'm pretty sure YouTube is giving you additional links right here that you can check out. And as always, EGP Learning is here to help save you and your patients time by tech enhancing your primary care and learning. And catch you in the next episode.